I think that a new field that I see emerging is home recording, you know, and I mean, if you define a market by something that's growing, right? I mean, big recording studios are shrinking. And I see one advance that I see that I think is stunning is the, I don't even know what you call it. There's a rack where you can have a couple of Neve preamps, a couple of SSL compressors.
Yes, right.
You know, you can mix and match this outboard gear. Stunning, you know. I wouldn't want to have a studio with a Neve in it or an SSL because someone's going to say, oh, I wanted the Neve, you know. But the home recording market is expanding, and it asks people to be their own engineers, and that's tough, you know. That's a good way to get into recording. You can get your own setup very cheaply. You could get into live recording very cheaply. It's a good way to meet bands. Hey, I've got 4 microphones and a whatever. I want to record your band. Fantastic. And you can mix that, send them a CD. Now they've got something else to sell at a show. You're providing a service and you're getting some chops, dealing with bands and recording some stuff. That's a pretty good way to get into it, actually. And you might form a relationship with a band. So they might say, hey, those 2 live CDs you did were great. Will you come in the studio with us? The thing that I see, nobody needs a record label anymore, but you sure as hell need some leverage, right? I've got 350 albums in the last 20 years. So each one of those albums might not have been massively successful. Some of them sold 2,000, some of them sold 75,000. But between all of them, I have leverage that I could say, hey, will you help this band? I want to push this band. Boom. Bands don't have leverage on their own. You don't need a label, but you could sure use some advice. A common mistake I see bands make, they'll put their best song 7th or 4th. It has to be first. Everything I see in the business and everything in my book, Michael Yerke, the #1 talent buyer in the country from House of Blues Chicago, they did $380 million last year. He says, put your best song first. You have to. People have got a minute to decide if they like your band or not. If they're going to listen for another minute. And they have a minute to decide if they're going to listen for another minute. And if you don't grab people with your best song, it's over. Once you've got someone that can help you to listen for a minute, if it's not there, I'm not going to listen to a band. I'm not going to say, oh, this is okay. Yeah. You can't have a 45-second acoustic guitar introduction. By the time the song comes in, I'm done. I'm listening to something else. And that's tough for bands. Sometimes a label and a producer, they just bring a different point of view. It's like the band is stuck in a maze and the producer just is sitting on one of those tall chairs and can see the way out. It's just literally a different point of view. You know, the producer isn't stuck in the maze. And weird social and psychological things happen to bands and songs. You might have a song, I don't know, it's got violin on it. And you go to record the song and someone's stolen the violin, or all the strings have mysteriously broken. You're like, well, we're burning studio time, we've got to get some violin strings. So you go to get the violin strings, the store's closed. Oh my God, someone knows the number of the owner of the store, you call him, he comes, opens the store, you get the violin strings, you have a little car accident on the way back to the studio because you're freaking out. And after 3 hours, you get the violin, you tune up the violin and you put the violin on the song. So now when you hear the violin on that song, you're remembering all of this stuff, and it's like, whoosh, it's amazing. It's my job to come in and go, yeah, the violin just sucks. It doesn't belong on this album. We're just going to cut straight into the guitar. And you're just like, what? Because I wasn't there when the strings broke. It's not relevant, you know? That's what a producer does. It's just a different view, and a view that we've put out a lot of albums. I see so many bands, like, this is crazy. The cover of the CD will be some kind of weird artwork, which is just like, okay. Inside the album will just be an amazing photograph of the band, where everything I know about the band is in that photograph. The bass player looks like he's going to punch you or rob you or whatever, but he's smiling. The singer looks great and energetic, jumping in the air. Everything about that band is in that photograph, and you could decide if I want to go and see this band or throw the CD in the trash. It doesn't matter how good the painting is or the artwork is on the front cover. I don't know. It doesn't tell me anything about the band. That's a really common thing. Like, bands think, oh, we don't matter. Well, you do matter, you know. And the clothes you wear, the way you stand, the way you look at the camera or don't look at the camera, says a lot. It says a lot more about you than the painting that you chose. You know, so yeah, I need to do a little handbook. Mistakes to avoid. Yeah. But yeah, you don't need a producer. You don't need any of these things. But I think a good producer helps. You can do anything, but a producer brings a different perspective and shows you something you might not have thought about. That maybe he sees something in the band that you can't see yourself. You know, because you're in it.